So, leadership training, month 4, day 1 today. Addressed issues with mum and dad, inner mum and dad, and owned those. So I started the day off really well, really high energy, and the more I started to look at the dynamic between mum and dad, I could feel that energy coming much darker and much thicker. What I mean by ownership, instead of like blaming my parents, like saying like mum and dad would blame me for things, and mum and dad suppressed me, and mum and dad don't achieve my goals with me. It was I blame others, I suppress myself, and then you spin that into like, well, I'm going to claim my life and everything that's out there for me and what I want to achieve and feel. Like, I want to be able to do all those things. And by having a mother and father dynamic there playing out where you don't feel like you're worthy of that stuff, it holds you back. So by taking full responsibility of the negative aspects that come from mum and dad, you're able to transmute that into something that's quite powerful. For all of us, there's about 30 of us there, 30, and we all spoke about our dynamic with our parents, and the energy in the room went really heavy, and owning that shadow stuff is really thick and dark, and you can just feel the whole energy of the room. Now, if you've never been to something like this, you're not going to understand how the energy of the room feels. And I think it's akin to when say you're at work and you're in a meeting and suddenly someone like just snaps and there's this awkward type silence in the room. That's the kind of energy, that's the kind of feeling that can go on in a room when you start doing shadow work. There's like a tension, it feels very low energy. Some people are a bit shy to talk, and everyone feels quite withdrawn, or looks quite withdrawn as well. So basically we discharged all that and integrated that, and then moved to the next step. We moved on to siblings. Now, when we started discussing siblings, actually before that, I'd jump onto that. The list for men, in particular how fathers felt, as we felt towards fathers, was huge. The list towards mothers wasn't as much, but the list towards fathers was quite big, and I felt I had to say to the group, like, I feel really honoured to be in a room with men that are doing this work, because there's so much stuff that fathers don't own, and it gets passed from generation to generation. So it's really important that men start doing their emotional work, because this gets passed on. And stuff like misogynistic behaviour, objectification, passive aggression, being passive, snaps of rage and violence, and basically just not owning your emotions, like blaming partners and blaming like your boss, or blaming politics. It's like you need to just own it and say, look, I'm angry right now. It's my stuff that's coming up from my parents. It's mine. And just being able to feel it, say it, and tell the person that's in earshot that this is what's going on for you. It takes the sting out of it. But when we went talking about siblings, there wasn't much of a charge there for me. I really found it quite hard to own that shadow. It took me quite an energy to slip into that space. It's almost like if I owned it, it was like I'd lose my love for them. It's like tiptoeing around boundaries and tiptoeing around just telling a sibling, like, that's annoying, or that's irritating, or stop that, or stop mothering me, or work it out for yourself, and stuff like that, where it's like I feel like if I actually owned some of the feelings that I actually feel, that I would lose love for them, which was quite challenging. But I was treated like a prince by my mother. So I'm on this pedestal for her, which inappropriate generational boundaries are there. So normally the typical hierarchy of a family is like man in position 1, female in position 2, and then the kids. And the reason is I can't remember who the therapist was that established that. It was related to some tribe, Zulu tribe, I think it was. Anyway, it's basically if the female doesn't feel supported, which is the husband's responsibility, then she's not going to be able to relax, and she's going to want to be in control. And if she's going to be in control for extended periods of time, she'll end up emasculating the husband. And that's what happened. That's what happened in my parents' relationship. Basically, Mum wanted to put the siblings either level with, equal say to her and my father, or she'd try and put them in position 1 above, so the kids had ultimate say, which I've heard like collectivist, like my mother said she's from a collectivist type background, and that was normal, but I don't think there's anything normal about it, because you actually squash that hierarchy, which is quite important for the structure of a family to function, a typical family to function. And my sisters were treated like princesses by my dad, so, which is ironic because I tend to choose princesses as partners, and they always want something, and they can't do any wrong, and they're quite critical. So I feel like I attract that because that's what I was used to with my siblings. But that was really good, but we'll do more lower self work with that tomorrow. Then to tie the day off, we did an abstract multigenerational constellation. That was amazing. Basically, we would choose people that would represent our parents and our grandparents, and we would face away from our parents, and we'd have our parents standing behind us, and we would ask them if they could support us in our future endeavours and help us open our heart and just support us in being ourselves. And that in itself was quite powerful, because I don't think I've ever just asked my real life parents for support for things. I just don't believe I'm going to get it, so I don't ask, or I'll be criticised for it. And then if those parents, direct parents, when we ask them in the constellation if they can support us and they don't want to support us, then we'll ask for reinforcements by our grandparents who'll come in and support them. And if they don't feel supported, then we'll ask the next generation. And it's kind of like it's a constellation. So, and the strength that you feel at the front of that constellation, where you are asking your parents, is quite incredible. It's like nothing I've ever felt before. Like it's just this warmth and strength that you have, and then the people that are playing those roles of your ancestors will give you feedback or any words of advice that they feel are appropriate at that point in time, whether it be like you are the fruit of what we've achieved, like you are a distillation of all of our abilities, and you've got great gifts to share with the world. And just those kind of messages are really powerful, and they're really heartfelt, because everyone's honest there. Everyone's just like honest. There's no ulterior motive there other than just to see people just share who you are. There's no ulterior motive there, because we all love each other. There's just no ulterior motive there. It feels like it's genuine and it's honest. But there was a lot of grief that came up for people. There was a lot of strength and release that was present too, and it was a really, really beautiful process, and it was really lovely to be a part of. And I'd recommend coming to signing up for the leadership training and doing it. Not just for this process, but the build-up. You can't get to this stage without going through all of the other processes, all the other months, some of the other programs. But I felt amazing. I felt incredibly supported. I felt driven. I felt powerful. I felt like, and I still feel it, and I'll integrate it better when I sleep, that I'm on track for my destiny and my ambition, and where I'm headed it feels right, and it feels like I have support, multi-generational support, and it feels great. And I don't think there's no other therapy, there's no other NLP or CBT that would give me this feeling, because it feels integral, it feels cohesive, it's like it's part of me, it's not some head mantra-y affirmation thing. It feels deep, feels truthful, feels honest, feels great, and this is going to be in my body for forever, and it's life-changing. So anyway, there's more to do for tomorrow. I'm going to go to bed because I want to get a good night's sleep. So there's a lot more to do tomorrow. This weekend's going to just go off. So thanks for listening. Leave me a message, subscribe if you want. Anyway, catch you later. Bye.